Hi there. A little bit different today's video, a little bit different to my normal wild camping videos. Today we're going to look at car stealth camping. Now this is my Peugeot 208 that I use for stealth camping in. Basically what stealth camping means is you could walk by this car, see it parked up, not give it a second glance, and you wouldn't realise that somebody was actually sleeping in there and perhaps cooking a meal. That is what I mean by stealth car camping. Now this is my only car and I use it every day. So basically if I am going to use it for car stealth camping, I wanted it so that within say 20 minutes I could remove everything from the car and immediately convert it back to a normal car, so that it was done in a very short time. There's no permanent fixtures in there, everything has to be removed. I'll just show you a better view of the car. As you can see, it's nothing special. It's just a basic Peugeot 208. Now I can hear you asking, why would anybody want to sleep in such a small car? Well, it all sort of developed last year. I was doing a lot of one-day trips to France and Spain. And to get out there involved early flights from Manchester. I'm doing about 6:30 in the morning. So if you've got a 6 o'clock flight, you want to be at the airport at 4 o'clock, an hour and a half for me to get there. So I was basically going to have to get up at 1:30, 2 o'clock. So it was hardly worth going to bed. So what I thought, if I could actually sleep near the airport, get a good night's sleep, and then 4 o'clock drive into departures. So that is how I came up there with the idea of micro car camping. And another thing, I'm getting a little bit older, and I've found now if I know, fall in the heather and twist my ankle, or I get a bit of back pain, it doesn't go in a couple of days. It could take a couple of weeks. So for that period of time I couldn't go wild camping, but with the car I can go out and still basically wild camp. Alright, I'm in the car, but I'm still getting the excitement, the adventure and the thrill from actually sleeping out in the countryside somewhere. Alright, it's in my car. Now I was thinking how to film this. I'm actually in Home Bargains car park at the moment, which is not ideal. My garage at home isn't really suitable because I've bolted the garage door closed and it is used more like a workshop. So what I'm going to do now, I'll show you inside the car here to show you the empty car, the space I've got to play with, and my thoughts of what I need in the back of the car. We'll then go back to my garage at home and I can show you all the kit that I've built, all the components I've built, how I've built them, and a little bit more detail on each thing. Now, not far from my house, I have another garage, and it is known as the Top Garage. We could go up there, take all the kit with us, and we'll fit the car out. Take about 20 minutes, we'll fit the car out with all the kit, and I'll show you how I convert it to a micro car camper. So that is looking into the rear of my Peugeot 208. You'll see there is a safe fitted, and that will be incorporated into the design. I've pushed the seats forward, and there's not a lot of room, but there is enough. Basically what I'm looking at, the sleep board and mattress on the left hand side. On the right hand side, that will be for storage and cooking and possible seating area behind the driver's seat, and more storage there. Underneath the bedboard behind the passenger seat, electrical unit to supply all the AC DC power requirements. Blackout screens fitted to all the rear windows, and behind the front seating will be a privacy curtain. So basically, at the end of the day, I want to be able to convert it to a car camper in 20 minutes and there be no visible indication that anybody is sleeping in the car. So what we're going to do now, we'll head up to my garage at home, and I'll take you through the individual components and how I built them. I'll see you up there. So what we're going to look at first is the sleep system. That's basically a bedboard and a mattress, a little bit more to it. So what I'm going to do, I'll move the camera a bit further down, rearrange things, and then I'll tell you all about the sleep system. Now, if you think with most cars, if you drop the back seats down, you can get a bit of a flat area to sleep, but in majority of cars, it's not exactly perfect. And to get a good night's sleep, you want a nice bed. So I made this bedboard. It's basically made out of 18mm plywood. You don't want it too thin or it'll flex. I've got 18mm ply and 2 reinforcing boards along the bottom. As you can see, I've made it in 2 pieces. That's the other piece. Reason for that is basically for ease of handling when you're actually putting it in the car. And the other thing, if you're driving about, you can conceal this. It can be, it's not obvious when somebody looks in the car. We are talking stealth camping here. Simply bolts together with 4 countersunk screws, and then you've got a nice solid bedboard. And I've painted everything matte black. You'll see black is the dominant colour with this setup. So that if that is set up in my car and somebody peers in the back window, they ain't going to see a lot really, because it's all black, it's all matched in. The only little tip I'd give you, if you build something like this, make a cardboard template. It makes it a lot easier. The shape of a car inside, you can see how it's contoured round. And the other thing, don't expect to get it right first time. I made the board, then I went out, then I modded it, put a little cutout there, altered it there to fit something in. So don't expect to get it right first time. So that, once that's bolted in, that gives me a nice solid firm bedboard. The next thing is the mattress. So this is basically 60" by 26" by 4" or 100mm medium density foam. You can buy that sort of anywhere online and they'll cut it to whatever size you want. I got mine supplied with a sort of like a stockinette wrapped round it. That'll protect your foam a bit better. And also with my sewing machine, I made this, it's like a thick, what do you call it? Oh. Anyway, a thick cotton cover. I made it, as you can see, it was zipped. It isn't easy putting a concealed zip in. I think we're getting on to advanced sewing techniques for that. But yeah, so I made that cover up. It's a lot more comfortable to sleep on. but that gives you a fantastic night's sleep. On top of that would go electric blanket. Now this is a 240 volt mains electric blanket. I'll explain later how I can run this. I did have a look at 12 volt electric blankets, but they're only about 30 watts and they don't heat up too much. This I think it'll take 80 watts. So when and it's a variable rate as well. So once you switch that on initially, it will soon warm your bed up. I'm thinking of winter conditions when you're talking freezing conditions in the car. So with that running for half an hour, this will be toasty warm. And then once you're in, you can probably turn it down. I think it's got about 5 settings on it. So you can turn it down to suit the temperatures. So you've got your electric blanket on. Oh. Next items, right. Put them in a kit bag made with sewing machine again. In here is a standard single 13.5 tog duvet, feather duvet. It's in a black duvet cover and there is a black pillow as well. So we'll look at those when we set it all up. But that bed can all be made up as you leave home, and then you can actually turn the electric blanket on. So as you're driving out somewhere, it is all warming up. Anyway, I'm going to move this lot out the way and we'll have a look at a closer look at the items behind me. So we'll look at some other bits of kit. Now another essential bit is window blinds. You want to be able to make your car private and make basically a light tight seal. So I made mine up out of the thick black cotton. I actually made like a pocket with inside there I put some Reflectix insulation in. So just velcro that together, and I sort of made up again, make a paper or cardboard template of your windows. I cut my oversize and I put 2 layers of stitching round, so I end up with a loose edge all the way round. So that fits into the window, and then these loose edges help to form a light tight seal. So that is basically the window blinds. What I did fit on mine, I fitted some little magnets all the way around. So you can just throw them against the window and click click click, they stick, and you've got that light tight seal. This was the hardest thing, or the most problematic thing I ever made. So you can probably see it's a simple curtain and it will look better when we fit it. But I had great difficulty in making, you could say, a curtain rail. I've tried various things. You can't drill anything because it's your roof lining, and it's also full of airbags around there, so you've got to be really careful. But I managed to get this bit of plastic, and that actually fits on top of my seatbelt brackets and forms a nice curtain all to split the rear of the car off. It'll look more obvious when we actually fit it, but that was really difficult, the most difficult part I made. And even when I had fitted that, it did keep falling down. So threw another problem up. I made a centre post that fits in the console of the car, and the curtain rail fits in the top there, and that made it as rigid as anything. It was perfect then. And also I provided myself a timber support to mount my main form of lighting. So it kind of worked out fantastic in the end. So this is my main lighting I have in the car. It's even got a USB charger built in. So what was a problem, once I cured it, cured several other problems. So that is some of the other items of gear I made up. Now, you remember that safe that was in the car? Well, when I originally set my car up, I had a little battery there. That was my initial setup really, when I was just looking at ideas. So this box fitted on top of the safe, and then I could mount a battery in here. And obviously things changed later on, but I kept that as a little storage thing. It fits on top of the safe. It's got non-slip material on, and I keep various bits there, my kettle and all sorts. Now, by making things yourself, you can get the perfect fit. So I wanted a storage box, basically, for my water. There's a bowl and a few pans, stuff for making drinks with. So I made this box up. I think it's just out of 6mm ply, but you can make it fit perfectly. So I've got 3 Nalgene bottles. I didn't want them rattling about, so that box was made specifically to fit my gear, and that fits nicely in the back of the car. And then after doing a couple of camps, car camps, I realised there's lots of bits of gear and you need to put them somewhere. From a clock, USB leads, a mount for my phone so I can look at TV, the tablets I've got to take, torches, my glasses. So all these little items need to go somewhere. So I made this sort of bespoke unit up, and it actually fits on the back of the passenger seat. Again, you can buy those cloth organisers. They're okay if that's what you want. I prefer something a bit more substantial, and all my little bits of gear can be put in there and be at hand. Few more items. We have to have something. You've got to have toilet facilities. It's stealth camping. You can't just get out like you do on a wild camp. 3-litre bottle covers most eventualities. So that's my kettle, and like I say, it fits nice there. Now, part of the fun of a project like this is the cooking side of it comes in, but sort of the electrical side I found very interesting. A lot of people will use gas. Well, I wasn't happy about using gas in a car. You have to think, a car is like a sealed box, and to run a gas stove in a car I didn't actually class as very safe. And that's me talking. I don't often talk like this, but me safety head come in, I risk assessed it, and I thought gas in a car isn't safe. As you know, on wild camp, I've quite often done some cooking, doing some filming, I've left the gas stove on. Anybody can do it. I didn't like the idea of filling my car up with gas. And also, who's to say those cylinders you store in your car are perfectly sealed? So I thought I'd go down the electric induction style of cooking using an induction hot plate. So that's what it is. That is an induction hob unit. So we'll look at that later on, but I can run that in my car. And then to mount it on, I bought that's a simple tray I got on eBay. So the induction hob will fit on there. I've got a couple of timbers so you can level that up, and then a bit of area here for putting your cups or whatever. But again, it'll come more obvious when we use it. So I'm going to move the camera in now and show you the heart of this system, which is my electric power unit in a way. It provides all my AC and DC power requirements. 240 volts mains, 12 volt DC. I had certain criteria to meet though. One, it had to fit under the passenger seat and behind the passenger seat. So I built up a timber frame which I mount all the units on. The battery I can remove and then fit once I've got it in the car, because it is all heavy. And the other criteria I wanted to run an electric blanket for sleeping. That's no big deal really. But I also wanted to run an induction hob for cooking, possibilities of a microwave, and possibilities of a coffee maker. It'll hopefully last for 10 years, and you can discharge it down to zero. Not that I ever do. Lead acid, you can only go down to 50%. So a lot more advantages. Disadvantages, it's very expensive. But I'm not just thinking my car's quite old, won't gonna last forever. This all might go into a bigger car at one stage. So I am thinking ahead. That's why I've got such a, you could say, powerful unit. So like I say, 170 amp hour lithium ion battery. Because I wanted to run the induction hob, etc., I went for a 1500 watt inverter. Now, they're all, just switch that on and there's losses straight away, which I'll show you. So, if you're just going to run an electric blanket, you can go a lot smaller. My setup, it means if I just run an electric blanket with this system, it's very inefficient, but it will run it. And I run an electric blanket for probably 2 days or something like that. But yeah, it's just how I chose my system. So you've got lithium ion battery, inverter. Got 2 little circuit breakers. They are circuit breakers, they're thermal circuit breakers, so I don't know how good they are. But that would put my DC on. As you can see, that's come on. So that's like a 12 volt DC distribution board there that fits in the car. That's 30 amp. I've got a 150 amp circuit breaker here. That'll put the power on to the inverter, 12 volts to the inverter. Like I say, these circuit breakers, I use them more as an isolation switch. So when I leave the car and I've gone off on my travels or something, I can isolate everything from the battery. It's got made up of 25mm basically battery cables. When this is going max, you're pulling probably 125 amps through these cables. So yeah, you want decent cables. That's my AC extension. First trip I did with all this in, I didn't get that, and I spent ages trying to put a plug in down here. There's 2 sockets. Scratched all my hands, couldn't get a plug in. So I built a little extension that goes on the centre console of the car, easy to plug your appliances in. What else have we got? This is like that's a shunt with a battery monitoring system. So I've got this battery monitor here. I can briefly, these all come with massive long cables on, and I had to shorten them and joint every little bit because I ended up too much cable. But that's the battery monitor, and I've also got a remote for the inverter. So I don't know if you'll see that, but I can go, that switched the inverter on. Now I don't know if you can see it, but immediately the inverter just stood there, will pull probably about 10 watts. So there's a permanent drain on the inverter, so you don't want it switched on all the time. So I've got this little remote, and that's the inverter switched off. So the current draw will then drop down to 0. But these will look better when we've got them set up in the car. It's quite a complicated but quite interesting unit. Got a positive buzz bar and there's a negative buzz bar because you're connecting all small cables up, like for the shunt and the DC. The DC I've got backed up by a fuse as well. I just use the circuit breaker more as an isolator. But this will fit all in the car, which we're going to do soon, and it's hidden away. You can't actually see it, and it's behind the passenger seat. So that basically covers all the kit I use to go car camping. So next thing now, we're going up to my other garage, known as the top garage, and we're going to fit all this gear into my car, and it'll just show you how my little Peugeot 208, it becomes like a TARDIS. It is fantastic inside. So I'll see you up at the top garage. Welcome to my top garage. As you can see, it is full of stuff. I can assure you I'm not a black marketeer. Most of this does belong to my son, and I will tell you about it one day, not today. Mind you, I did get some funny looks when we had lockdown on and there was a shortage of toilet rolls. I've unloaded all my kit in here, so what we'll do now, we'll fit it to the car and transform it into a micro camper. First item to go in is the power unit. I've separated the battery from this unit here because together it weighs too much. The battery's about 20 kg I think. So we'll get this in position first, then put the battery in. So this just slots under the passenger seat. It's a tight fit, but it's been designed like that. Then next is the battery. That just slots in, and it doesn't take long to connect it. And a 18mm spanner just to nip them up. It is a bit messy, but it's too heavy to lift on its own. So then that is the power unit in place. Next items, the bedboard. As you can see, that completely covers the power unit. That's the other piece in. All designed fit like a glove. And these go together with 4 screws. You could use a hand screwdriver, but for speed and convenience we'll use the power driver. So that's your bedboard in place. Bit of storage now. Like I say, that was my original battery box, but that fits nice on that safe. Good storage area. And this is this little box I made, store me water in, etc. And that does fit nicely in there. That's it. So that fits in that little gap there. Now for the worst bit, this sort of privacy curtain. You've got to have it to seal the front of the car off. But I have got a right and a wrong way of fitting it. Got a piece of elastic there. I know that fits under the front headrest. Not so much privacy, but so nobody can see any signs of you in here. So that simply goes in like that. Got a bit of elastic on this back, and that hooks over the seat like that. Show you over here, and then it all velcros down the side of the car to provide a light tight seal. We'll get the lighting post in because that completes it. So that is this centre post. Apart from making this all rigid, somewhere to mount a light, and I can mount other things on it, so it worked out really well. That the curtain will go behind, pull it over, and then that all velcros together, and it velcros all the way down. So at the end of the day, we have a good light tight seal. I'll move the curtain on that side over onto the other side of the seat. I'll show you why in a second. So next is this storage unit. That's why I moved the curtain. A little bit awkward to fit. Perhaps I ought to have fitted it earlier. So that's it in. Can usually let that seat forward a bit and it makes it vertical. So while I'm here, I'll just show you some of the electrics. That's a battery monitor, got Velcro on it, that mounts nicely there so I can see it. That's my inverter on off switch. I'll stick that up there for the time being. That's the DC distribution board, Velcro. That sticks under there. Just connected that little circuit breaker on. Oh, connect this. That goes to the distribution board. And that's the light. So that's the 12 volt DC on. So that's basically got all the storage in, just the last few bits to bring in. Couple bits more, both vital. One kettle, one toilet. This is my electric hob that fits nicely on the folded down seat. So that's the hob unit and the tray. You can't always guarantee your part level, so a couple of boards, they'll go underneath to level it up as necessary. So that's the mattress in. Like I say, it was cut to size, so it fits lovely, gives you a full size bed. With that front seat leaning forward, there's a lot more room for your head. And then electric blanket would go on. I'm not going to bother putting this on, but yeah, so again the leads were all very long, so I've had to shorten those, but that would basically lay across there, and then I can connect that into the AC output, and I've got dual control electric blanket, duvet on top, and pillow as toasty as you want to be. You could sleep -5, -10 and be as warm as you want to be. So the only last thing to fit now is the window blinds. So you've probably heard the magnets, they just stick it to the steelwork around the window. Just got these two side ones to go on, and that's everything fitted, I think. So that's basically it. I think the only thing I ain't mentioned are these, they're like a rain guard, climb air. They're the type I've fitted. They just fit on into the guttering of your window, but they allow you to open your window probably 25mm for ventilation, which really helps. And you can't see it's open, and they will also prevent rain coming in as well. Really useful. So that sort of completes that. What we'll do now, I think, we'll get in and I'll try and show you inside the setup and that. Welcome to inside my micro camper. I've everything I need in here. A comfortable warm bed. I've lighting, USB charging for my phone, etc. Plenty of storage. I've an induction hob for making warm drinks, cooking food, and a battery monitor right next to me. So if I am using the induction hob, I can monitor what energy I'm using, what I've got left. So I've everything in here for a comfortable night in the UK, and nobody would know I was here, and that is precisely what I'd planned and designed it for. Inside here it's like a TARDIS, but I'm hoping for anybody walking by, they'll just think it's any old little car parked up. What we need now is a proper stealth camp, what it's been designed for. So in early March, I've planned a little trip to Barcelona, out to Manchester, near Manchester Airport, do a stealth camp, early morning, fly out to Barcelona, a full day in Barcelona, fly back late at night, and another stealth camp. So really looking forward to that. So I hope you've found it interesting. I've really enjoyed making it and actually building the stealth camper. Might give you a few ideas. You might be able to give me some feedback, give me some ideas back. But if I can thank you for watching, and I'll see you early March for our little trip to Barcelona, and I can probably go into a bit more detail of what it's like spending the night in my micro camper. So see you soon. Bye then.